Let the earth rejoice, let the multitudes of isles be glad thereof. The clouds and darkness are round about him. Righteousness and judgment are the habitation of his throne. A fire goeth before him and burneth up his armies round about. His lightnings enlighteth the world. The earth saw and trembled. The hills melted like wax at the presence of the I Am. At the presence of the I Am of the whole earth. The heavens declare his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. Confounded be all they that serve graven images, that boast themselves of idols. Worship him, all ye gods. Zion heard and was glad, and the daughters of Judah rejoiced because of thy judgment, O Yahweh. For thou, O I Am that I am, art high above all the earth. Thou art exalted above all gods. Ye that have loved the I Am hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. Light is sown for righteousness, and gladness for the upright in heart. Rejoice in the I Am, ye righteous. Give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. Psalms chapter 97. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits, who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform. We thank God for you. We thank God for those of you who are just viewing. And also we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning and since and here and there's about. And we thank for those of you that are about to subscribe, as well as those of you who have subscribed. And we thank God for you. And we give God the praise and the glory for you. You're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. I realize that in my conversations with different people, I have found out why people don't understand God. They don't understand because they don't learn of him. Learn of me. I ain't talking about the New Testament. I'm talking about learning of the Most High, the one who created, the one who has no end nor beginning. This is the power, or by translation, God. This is God we're talking about. Who birthed God? Who birthed God that birthed God? Who birthed God? Has no mother, no father. He's just God. God have persecuted those, and he have condemned those Israelites who have sacrificed to the Queen of Heaven. And that thing seems to continue today, the Queen of Heaven. They figure God should have a wife. This is blasphemy. This is not in knowing the Most High. This is not knowing he who inhabits time and space, has no beginning nor no end. This to have a wife, this is humanistic thinking. He says, for my ways are above your ways. You cannot know God by finding him out. You have to learn of him. Therefore God has sent men and some women to give his word unto the children of men. From the time of Adam all the way to the Noah was the books delivered. That when God, the acts of God and the acts of how he treated those that would oppose him and those who would love him and understand him and know him. It's not given to the mighty, nor the strong, nor the rich. But he said that you understand and know me by God's Spirit. God is a spirit. There is no Holy Spirit. God is the Holy Spirit. Yes, God is holy. He is a spirit. There is no other spirit above God. He makes no other spirit that he has to exalt above himself. These things, if you know and understand God, you will understand that this is fallacy. There is no spirit above God. Now, there are spirits of God, and many of those spirits are holy because they obey God. They do the things that God say do. See, all the things that you read in these books, a lot of times you have to look at what is going on. And you can tell a fallacy that has been inserted inside the books, which you call Bible. These are just books that are entwined in a book, according to some group of men and women that would say, oh, we believe this is right. Okay, we're going to cast this out. This makes sense, this don't make. And then they add in what they want to control. It's called control. To try to manipulate the people to do a certain thing a certain way of their liking. So therefore, it behooves you to read and understand the laws of the Most High. For the laws describe, and they are the personification of the Most High, and how the Most High deals with men. And for him to delete a man, a woman, a child, or a whole nation is nothing. There's a reason God does everything. Is it for us to judge him? No, we cannot judge God. But God does, if we know and understand God, we would understand that he does it righteously. His judgment is just and sound, even perfect. Yes. And yes, we do give God the glory. Now, we're in the book of 2 Kings, and 2 Kings chapter 19, if you prepare. And we thank God for you. Yes, it's been, and we're coming up also with a segment, mostly just at the Sabbath day, the lunar Sabbath, mind you. The lunar Sabbath day, we try to come up, not try, but we're going to attempt to come up with and have that perpetuated with the law, the reading of the law, period. Because even in Joshua 1 and 8, it talks about, in this book of the law shall not depart. You know, you should meditate it. You should meditate. I can't quote it right, but he says you meditate on it day and night. And there's a promise with you meditating on the law day and night. Sometimes it might behoove you of your own cognizance to go ahead and copy the things in the law, because we do not have the book of the law that Oshay, aka Joshua as you know him, we don't have the book of the law. That book had been somehow hidden in a museum or something. So all we have is the historical account of what was contained in the book of the law. This is what we have. Yes. Yes, God does this for a reason. That those who would come after God can. And those who would find fault with God and fault with his people and go on to serving idols and different men and call men and put them in the stead of God, that is your test. Can you come out of it? This is why a small people, hewn out of many people, will come and crush the feet that Daniel saw, that idol that Daniel saw when Nebuchadnezzar, of the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, or Nebuchadnezzar, however you pronounce his name in that manner. But the fact is that God is going to crush this world system, because even though you might think it's all that, it's still built upon Babylon, Persia, Gracia, Rome, and then you have these people at the bottom, which we're coming into that time now, that just go their own way. They're doing things, their powers, their political systems built up on some of the things of the Most High, but not all. 2 Kings chapter 19. Yes, chapter 19. We're going to do this as a daily thing. Sometimes I might take a break or go somewhere or whatever, might be traveling or something like that. I'll let you know on that one. But either way, we're going to keep it as a daily thing, or for you it may be a daily devotion. It might be something that you just listen to daily, and that's good. And it reads, and it came to pass when King Hezekiah heard it, he rent his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the I Am. Now here's King Hezekiah. He's right there in Jerusalem. He's right there with the temple that Solomon built. Although the temple has been rebuilt, torn down, rebuilt, but he still goes, he rents his clothes. In other words, this doesn't mean nothing to me. I tear my clothes in disgust. I tear my clothes because I'm perplexed. I tear my clothes and put the ashes from the altar or the ashes from the fire upon my head and saying, I am nothing, O God. Help me at the tidings that are coming toward me. This is why even the armies of those of you who proclaim the most high, when you receive the leaders or the generals of the army, when you receive tidings from superpowers or those you know can beat you, or they're coming against you and you don't know where they're coming, it is a good thing to seek the Most High, seek His way. Shall we go up? Shall we relent? Or shall we be relentless? Shall we go in offensive? Shall we go into defensive? See, God led His people not only militarily, He led them politically, He led them morally by the law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. See, this is how He wanted to set the example before the world, that this is what I require of you. This pleases me. And therefore you have fulfilled your existence by the way you live before the Most High. Never mind the rest of the world. Never mind them. Verse 2. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna, the scribe. So there you have a priest and a scribe. And the elders of the priests covered with sackcloth to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos. In other words, he's telling them the situation. Leaders should go to their priests or their religious holy men that know the one God and cry with me to this God, and we're going to call on Him to deliver us from this enemy who so much come at. Yes, we have sinned. We have gone the wrong way of God. Let us repent. If there is a sacrifice, sacrifice it. This is what sacrifice is all about. If you have a sacrifice, sacrifice. If not, turn away from your evil ways. And with that sacrifice, we turn away from our evil ways. It's not the sacrifice that saves you. It's your commitment not to do the sin again that will save you. In other words, he says, when shall I say unto the wicked, in the day that he forsake his wickedness, that his wickedness shall be remembered. In other words, that's what saved you. You stopped. You turned around. You were sorry. You didn't do it again for the rest of your life, or you will not do it again for the rest of your life. And God sees that part of your heart. You cannot deceive God at all. No way. Now, in this part right here, he says, Shebna the scribe in verse 2, and the elders covered with sackcloth, Isaiah the prophet, son of Amos. Now, at this time, during the time of Hezekiah, we see that Isaiah the prophet was active before the I Am. Yes, he was. And they say unto him, thus saith Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble and of rebuke and blasphemy. For the children are come to birth, and there is not strength to bring forth. In other words, you're not having no babies. He said you're not having no babies. No, you're not having no babies. You're not having no babies, man. Now, again, he says now in verse 4, it may be that the I Am thy God will hear all the words of Rashake, the king of Assyria, his master, hath sent to reproach the living God. Now see, as we said in verse 18, how that Rashakna, he said, who can stand before us? We have subdued all the gods. See, this is the way they understood it. Now we're into a land where we believe God, but we believe our science and all these other things first. But that's okay. You can do that. God gives you that choice. But he says, if you're going to make a wise choice, choose me. Yes. But either way, he says now, and God will reprove the words which the I Am thy God have heard. In other words, he's going to reprove Rashake. He's going to reprove him. Wherefore lift up thy prayer for the remnant that are left. Who? In Judah. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah And Isaiah said unto them, thus shall ye say to your master, thus saith the I am, be not afraid of the words which thou have heard, which the servants of the king of Assyria has blasphemed me. Why would the king of Assyria come and against the children of Judah? Simply because sin. See, this you don't want to hear. No one wants to hear this. The reason of all these things is sin. But God also, he turns around and he chastises and he deletes and he removes those who he used. In other words, some say the supremacists use a tool, and when they through, they break it. Yes, God will use the wicked as a tool, and in the end, he will break the wicked. Yes, he will. And that it rendered righteousness for the children. The righteousness is not in your going to church or nothing. The righteousness is in you obeying the law. There is no middleman with God. Let's put it that way. He says, behold, I will, in verse 7, he says, behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear a rumor, and shall return to his own land. And I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. And Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he was departed from Lachish. Now, great wars were happening in Lachish, and also in Lachish there was a way he was fighting the children of Israel. And this is where one of the books by Anubantu and Gert Mueller was their volume 2, History of the Hebrews and Arabs. This is how they how they found out that the Hebrews or the children of Israel were Negroid and even Assyria because of the skulls. Comparative to the skulls in Europe, comparative in the skulls up north in the land of, Russia and all the rest of them, and compared to the skulls in Egypt. They were Negroid, and there was a difference that identified them as, should I say, Israelite and Arab. So the fact is that you have nothing to stand on when you say that the children of Israel, this is just the people trying to make themselves look more than what they are. Excuse me. That's all it is. The children of these people they've been taught this way for a long time, just like in South Africa. They've been taught that way for a long time, and they really did not have nothing until 1948 or 47. This is the time of apartheid, and also it was a time when the United States and the EU and the Western nations all together helped the Ashkenazi or the mixture of people to declare themselves Israel and to take over the land and try to rebuild Israel. This is what it is. Don't let them pull any wool over your eyes, and I'm not being blasphemous. This is just pure facts, period. This is why they're so adamant about pushing up Israel, because it sends a narrative that who they are and they're right. But it's not so with God. God knows those whom he have chosen and those who are his, period. And Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he had heard he was departed from Lachish. And when he heard the say of Tarhaka, king of Ethiopia, behold, he is come out to fight against thee, and he sent messengers against Ethiopia. That wasn't that. You see, this is why you always have to look at these books. You can't. You have to realize there was another name for these people here. Ethiopia only means blackface, so we know they were black. They are part of Africa. The same thing with, no matter how they tried to do it, it's also, what are you going to do, destroy the Bible? You're going to destroy the books, the holy books? I mean, all the way from Morocco to Egypt, to all the way in all those areas, nothing but black people, ancient peoples. of that land, which were the indigenous. But this was by design that God allowed this to be, if you would read the prophets. Now, these people are just occupying for right now. That's all they're doing. They're doing nothing. They're really doing nothing. They call themselves, their children are deceived. Their parents have caused them to be deceived. They have written and formulated lies and painted and broke off the noses and of the Sphinx, and they have everything north of the Sahel and even east of the Sahel have they claimed to make themselves seem as something when before the I am they're nothing. If you want to be something, obey the law. And that's before him who counts, even he who occupies all space and time. Yes. And when they heard the say of Tarhaka, king of Ethiopia, behold, he's come out to fight against thee, he sent messengers again unto Hezekiah, saying, thus shall ye speak unto Hezekiah the king of Judah, saying, let not the God in whom thou trustest deceive thee, saying, Jerusalem shall not be delivered into the hand of Assyria. But behold, thou hast heard that what the king of Assyria have done to all the lands by destroying them utterly. And shall thou be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them which thy fathers have destroyed, even as Gozan, Haran, and Respite, and the children of Eden, which were in Thalasar? Where is the king? The children of Eden. Should that be the same Eden that God had? No, Eden was taken up. It was guarded. No one could. Eden was a holy place. Where is the king of Hamath? In verse 13, the king of Arpad, the king of the city of Seharvaim, and Hena and Iva. And 14, and Hezekiah received the letter at the hand of the messenger and read it, and Hezekiah went up into the house of the I am and spread it before the I am. Now this is another thing. This is something that you do. You have your little altar at your home or wherever you have it, or you might go into the backyard, or you might go into a mountain range, and things that you have, let's put it like this. We don't advocate things that they do in the New Testament and among organized religion. No, we don't. But here, he understood God. He knew God. He's saying, God, this is what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with you spreading out your bills, that you repent. I've been so messed up, God. These bills are overwhelmed. I've caused myself to want to live lavishly. I see people having all kinds of things. You've got to lay them out before God. And now I'm seeing titles because of my own foolishness. You have to humble yourself before God, because God knows for you to have accumulated so many bills and you haven't been sick. You've lived above your means. Now you have all these bills and you have lawyers and stuff, or you have walked out of your temperament and caused havoc or ruckus, and now you have these things coming at you. You tell God your fault, and you spread all kind of affidavits and, should I say, warrants and all these things before the Most High, except for murder and the graping. These things God will not allow you to go. You are just damned forever, period. Who are you to delete a man whom God have, unless it's by the auspices of God or in defense or in war, out of malice, to delete a man because you just don't like him or you're jealous? These are the ways of war. Many kings had to pay for the wars. Even the presidents and different people of this land, they will have to give accountability to God, regardless of whether they give accountability before you or not. Doesn't matter how they pray in churches and say, forgive me. Still, God is the judge. What is a judge? Once you are found to be accused of a crime, the judge comes by the standard. The standard is that You were, and how do he identify? How is it identified that the accused is put before God and the accused is saying, hey, this man did this. The accuser, should I say. The accuser says this man did this and that and such a thing. And so it's up to the judge to determine whether this is true or not. By what? The standard. The standard is the law. Now, he uses the standard and the sentence that the law carries. And this is all written in the 5 books that were delivered to Moses. These laws have been ever since. Mankind, even the inception was, they've been since, or should I say during the time before the flood, these laws have been there. So the world is without excuse. It's not the New Testament and still you say, and this gospel shall be preached upon, no. God doesn't change. The world knew. You had Shem, Ham, and Japheth who taught their children. If you have a problem and you don't understand God, then you had a problem with your parents who did not teach you about the laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances of the Most High. That is the problem. So therefore, here we go again. He says, let not thy God in whom thou trustest deceive thee, saying, Jerusalem shall not be delivered into the hands of Assyria. Behold, thou hast heard what the king of Assyria have done to all the lands by destroying utterly, and shall thou be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them which my fathers have destroyed, as Gozan, Hadad, and Rizpah, and the children of Eden which were in Telassar? Verse 13. Where is the king of Hamath? The king of Arpad, the king of the city of Sepharvaim, of Hena and Ava. And Hezekiah received the letter out of the hands of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up into the house of the I Am and spread it before the I Am. Now we get to 15. And Hezekiah prayed before the I Am and said, O Yahweh, God of Israel, which dwellest between the cherubs, thou art the God, even thou alone art the kingdoms of the earth. Thou hast made heaven and earth. Yes, he has. The I Am, Yahweh, bow down thine ears and hear open. I am thine eyes and see, and hear the words of Sennacherib, which hath sent him to reproach the living God. Of a truth, Yahweh, the kings of Assyria have destroyed the nations in their lands and have cast their gods into the fire. Was this the thing of Assyria, or was this how God had sent his messengers or his spirits to touch the heart of the kingdom of Assyria to burn up these idols in the land? Why do you think you go through so much? You have your idols, your crosses, your pictures of different things that you worship in your homes. And you wonder, why is there fire? Why is there a earthquake? Why are there so many? And then the things that you do, adulteries, fornications. God has his way of ridding the evil and the wicked. You say, am I wicked? In God's eyes, yes, you may be. Wicked. This is described, those are opposed to that which is righteous as dictated by the Most High. Every man has a way that seemeth right unto him. Now that is a true statement. We all think we have a way that seems right, but the end is not the way of God. It's not the way of God. The way of God is his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. That's the way of the Most High. That is the way, the truth, and the life. It's not a man. It's what God spoke and what he handed down to Moses. That's the way, the truth, and the life. Now, therefore, O God, in 19, I beseech you, save thou us. Did he say, kill us and deliver us up into heaven? Out of his hand. So we say, God, save us out of the hand of the supremacists and those who come against us in our homes, in our cities, and our nations. Those who seek to enslave us. You ought to lay it out before God. Congo, DRC. You lay it out before the Most High. People get together, the women, the men, all lay it out before that one God and call upon him and say, deliver us, save us, because many have not been saved. This is what salvation is about. It's not about you that waiting on that great getting up morning. No, that's going to happen anyway. It's right now while we live on earth. We want to have peace. We want to be able to grow our crops and our vegetables. We want to be able to have our nice little things. We want to see our little daughters grow up and not be molested or oppressed by some stranger who she consented not to. This is what we want to see. You have to pray to God. Somebody was praying in Burkina Faso. Somebody was praying in Niger and Mali. Somebody was praying to the one God. And look at the deliverance that have been wrought. Yes, God works by the circumstances. We don't understand God, and many of us, we try to say, oh, they saved them by their own hands. No, they didn't. It was God that saved these 3 countries. Yes, it was. And he says now, therefore, O God, O I am our God, I beseech thee, I'm in verse 19, save us. Verse 20, we're going to go on to verse 20. Then Isaiah the son of Amos sent to Hezekiah, saying, thus saith the I am, God of Israel, that which thou hast prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Syria, have I heard. How did he say that? Through his prophet. This is the word that the I am has spoken concerning him. The virgin daughter of Zion hath despised thee. He's not talking about Mary. Yes, Israel hath despised her God and laughed thee to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem hath shaken her head at thee. Look what's happened now. The daughter of Jerusalem, Zion, hath despised God. We have despised he who occupies time and space, he who have chosen the father, our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, even all the way to Noah, even back, getting to Methuselah. We just don't stop at Abraham. It goes back further to Adam. He chose you out of the seed of Adam. The God of Adam. So if you're going to call it, just call it the faith of Adam. Or you can call it the Adamic faith. Or you can call it the Methuselitic faith. So you major and minor in things that don't even make sense. 23. By thy messengers thou hast reproached the I am, and hast said with the multitude of my chariots, I am come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and I will cut down the tall cedar trees and the choice fir trees, and I will enter into lodging on his borders and on the forest of Carmel. Isn't that the same thing they do now? They say, I will come up and I will take your gold, your silver, your coltran. I will do all these things, and your God cannot save you. You will accept this Isis. You will accept this. I will cut you off. And make sure that you turn the other cheek when I slap you. Make sure that you cause yourself to see that you cannot, you have to serve me. And so, why did you do it? Why is your mind colonized? Because you forgot God. Even those of Hamitic faith, you forgot the God of your father Ham, which is the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You forgot him. And I have digged and drunk strange waters with the sole of my feet, and I have dried up the withers and besieged places. Verse 25. And hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of the ancient times have I formed it? Now have I brought it to pass that thou shouldest be to lay waste fenced cities into ruinous heaps. Therefore thy inhabitants were of small power, and they were dismayed and confounded, that they were as the grass of the fields, and as the green herb, and as the grass on the housetops, and as the corn blasted before it, blown up. But I know thy abode, and thy going out, and thy coming in, and the range against me. He's talking about you. Jacob. He's talking about you, the real children of Israel. You have despised the Lord your God. And don't let me get into the daughters of Zion. Excuse me. He says, thy rage against me and thy tumult have come up into my ears. Therefore I will put my hooks into thy nose and my bridles of thy lips, and I will turn thee back the way thou camest. And this shall be a sign unto thee. Ye shall hear this year such things as grow of themselves, and in the second that which springeth up the same. And in the third year sow ye and reap and plant vineyards and eat fruits thereof. And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of the I am of hosts shall do this. Therefore thus saith the I am concerning the king of Israel, he shall not come up into this day, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield. In other words, you prayed, I'm going to deliver you, but this is going to happen. Nor cast a bank against it, but by the same way he came, the same way he shall return, and shall not come into this city, saith the I am. For I will defend the city and save it for mine own sake, for my servant David's sake. Because what? Save it, David repented. And it came to pass that night that the angel of the I am went out and smote the camp of the Syrians. This is the spirit, it's not angel. This is Greek stuff. Angel means messenger. The spirit of the Most High. A spirit of the Most High. He wasn't to send a message. He came out, the spirit of the Most High, that the spirit of the Most High went out and smote in the camp of the Syrians 185,000. 80, 800, 185,000. And then they rose early in the morning. Behold, they were all dead corpses. This was written in Old English. This was their way of trying to translate it. So we have to work with what we have. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went and returned and dwelt in Nineveh. And it came to pass, as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adrammelech and Sharezer, his son, smote him with the sword, and they escaped into the lands of Armenia. And Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. God is not playing with you, Israel. He wasn't playing with you from the beginning. But you best believe when you begin to turn, if you deem yourself as one of the children of Israel, and you begin to turn from your wicked ways and start following his laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances, basically his laws, until we come into the land and can sacrifice unto the Most High, sacrifice of thanksgiving, of love and repentance. That's all that's for. It cannot save you. It's your heart. It's turning away from sin that can save you. It's not the blood of a man that hung on a tree that can save you. It's your heart and turning away from the evil that you so habitually or so that you so do, except for murder and graping. No, you cannot turn away from those. Those things are forever damnable because you decide you want it out of your anger and your malice. Even if you're a king and send an army, you have committed murder. If you did it out of jealousy and malice and greed. Greed is a form of malice. Yes. And decide you want to delete the DRC because you want its gold while your city is sitting clean and nice. But yet you cause another city and another people to be displaced and murdered all over the place. Oh yes, you're gonna suffer badly. Yes, you are. You laugh for now. You lie and you cheat and you steal and you give to your masters those things that belong to them. But now God is coming at you. The DRC will rise. Yes, it will become a clean place, a nice place, in the same places that have made them to look like dogs will be a dog of itself. And with that, we're going to say peace.
Walk with me.